Baby live, live, baby, live. I always wanted to sing on Twitch. Maybe I shouldn't.
Kick it off.
All right, we're getting right into it because
Internet.
we're protecting the show. Podcast or no podcast? Doesn't matter. I'll make it up. Okay. We are going to the evergreen section here. All right. 3:30 mark. Quick one tonight.
We'll see.
Quick one for a public holiday. All right. A 3 and a 2 and a 1. Hello and welcome to the what are we? Episode. Okay, sorry. 3, 2,
1.
1. Are we gonna cut that out? No, don't.
Nah.
3, 2, 1. Go. Hello and welcome to episode 148 of the Naked Tech Podcast. We're here to give you everything you need to know about consumer tech, the internet, and all things sourdough starter. I'm your friend Jeff Kim.
My name is Calvin Lee, and I almost got tear gas today.
What were you doing? You shouldn't be out there writing.
I know.
I told you about that last week.
I know. My parents live quite close to Long Bay Prison here in New South Wales, and apparently,
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
I know. But today there was a riot, so
There was?
There was. And for some reason, the correctional officers decided to use 6 tons of tear gas, and all the nearby suburbs all had burning eyes and skin and face and everything. So I was going to take the kids to go to grandma's to have a play, so I had to wait for a few hours till all that dissipated. But yeah, the world's going crazy, man.
Well, what time did this happen? Because I have no idea.
12 o'clock, apparently. I got a WhatsApp message from my mom saying it's live on TV. You got to go check it out. So I did, and
Mom, just look out the window.
Yeah, bunch of guys got into a fight in the exercise space, and things got crazy.
Okay, but you survived.
I survived.
Kids are okay.
The kids are good. They still went out and had a play with the cousins.
So the rioting was just limited to inside the jail.
Yeah, but because it was in the outdoor space, and they tear gassed them with a lot of tear gas, it just went everywhere, which is funny.
Okay, well, I feel like this is probably a good segue into our first segment.
Yes.
So lots happening around the world, even Sydney, as you saw today. And I'm not going to ask about what the riot was about in Long Bay Jail. I'm assuming it was to do with the current affairs.
Apparently, it was that or drugs. No one knows.
Could be both. So, I mean, we're not going to go into the details of what's been going on. Lots of people outside during a pandemic. Good, bad. We'll see, I guess, in 2 weeks. I mean, I guess the intention of the protesters is fine. But there's a few sort of tech angles to what's been going on. Let's start with Casey Newton. He's on The Verge. He's going to talk about how members or staff members of Facebook did a virtual walkout.
Can't wait to hear about this one.
What is a virtual walkout? Would you like to know? Here it is.
So on Monday, employees changed their status to say that they were out of the office, they stopped doing work, maybe they attended an in real life protest, or they did some sort of other organizing. And some of them tweeted about it publicly. And this was a really big deal because normally Facebook has a lot of internal debate, but it very rarely spills over.
So I guess it's not really first time for like a big company like this to host a walkout, but because everyone's remote right now, like how do you walk out from somewhere you're not at?
Yeah.
So it was dubbed a virtual walkout.
It kind of loses its impact a lot, actually. Because
apparently it was literally just putting out of office.
Yeah. So it doesn't really, you don't start working now. So for those who are hoping for work from home to be a real thing and who are still passionate about being able to do these things, there you go. You had to let something go to get something, to win something. So I felt like they could have done more. I think if you're a Facebook employee and you truly want to let Zuck know what you really thought, maybe there was more constructive ways to, let your thoughts become actions. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to even start with this one.
I mean, Zuck's not in a very good position right now because, I mean, I kind of get why he's, he has this stance right now because, Facebook should be about free speech, and sure, like, well, whatever this guy is saying is wrong. Like, it still should have the freedom to talk about it. So I kind of get it. However, I guess the staff members and some influential staff members, they haven't named any names. I actually have seen a Facebook post from a guy who used to be like the head of design there, a Korean dude. He definitely spoke up against it, but he's no longer at Facebook. But yeah, it's just interesting to see, like, this is the new norm in 2020. You hold a virtual walkout if you're unhappy about something that your boss is saying.
You know who I really blame, though?
Who's that?
Dorsey. If he didn't,
Jack?
Yeah, Jackie boy. If he didn't do that, the whole, fact check Trump thing, I don't think Facebook would look this bad.
So Zuckerberg blames him.
Well, yeah. Did he openly say that?
I don't know. I mean, like, this was about a week ago now, so I mean, what's a week in tech these days? But yeah, it's going to be a common thing. Like, some CEO will do something and the media will just go crazy and they'll make headlines, and we will talk about it on a podcast. I'm sure this is going to happen for the rest of the year. You got something else about this
Yeah, so another tech angle about how people are organizing, BLM protests, and what are they using to be able to corral people to look at the right documents, the right links, and everything. I was quite surprised that the MIT Tech Review decided to write about this, and it's actually Google Docs. The way they mentioned this was, instead of putting out a bunch of information on Twitter or Facebook where things just get hidden down in your news feed, you start a Google Doc and you let people retweet that or share that, and it becomes this open document that people can edit, and it becomes like a source of truth. You can do it anonymously. It's free. It's there. I don't know why this is a news story, to be honest. Have people not done this before? I'm guessing because if you build a website, it might get taken down by the government, but if it's on Google Docs, I'm guessing that isn't a problem. You might be able to block access to it, but this is Google, so it's going to be quite hard. So it talks about people just wanting to use this over anything else they have at the moment. I mean, Halle Berry here is retweeting a Google Docs list of everything you need to know about MLM. So what do you think? Is this a news story?
Well, I wonder if it's due to a few of the things we talked about last week, which was, Microsoft creating this Fluid framework. Those are actually not out yet, but like, there are tools out there. Like, we talked about Notion as well. I think Notion would have been kind of perfect for this, but like, Google Docs, is it like, how long has it been since it's been around? Is it considered the sort of the dinosaur of the collaboration era now? Like, is it like, hey, people are still using Google Docs, look at that? Is that the story?
Yeah, I think it's, well, if it wasn't the first, it was definitely one of the most popular ones. But I see where you're going with this. Like, I think the other part of its appeal is, yes, it is old, but it's also super simple. Like Notion, you can like, instead of doing bullet points, you have to insert a sort of a macro, whatever they call it. Like, you have to insert a module into it to even do simple bullet points. Like, Evernote is getting super complicated. The other tool that they mentioned here is one called Card, spelled CARRD. They specialize in building one-page sites, which Notion can do as well. So I think anything that's easy, simple for you to build something quickly, because there's a chance you might get taken down, or you want to be able to share and collaborate on information. The working from home situation, the whole activist movement. I think you're going to get more and more of these tools that make it easy for you to publish stuff online.
I think one tool they're staying away from is Facebook pages. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Google Docs to YouTube. So, as I do most nights, I'm on YouTube. Marquez Brownlee of MKBHD, probably the most popular tech YouTuber these days. At the time, he was a number 2 trending on YouTube, but he had a new video this week called to look it up. Reflecting on the color of my skin. So it's a very heartfelt, very earnest view on what his take is on the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I think the name of it is also from a blog post that Tyson,
Neil deGrasse.
Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson also put up. Now, I'm not going to go into what he actually talked about because I think everyone should sort of watch it, and it's coming from a tech reviewer who's sort of on the edge of it, right? When you watch YouTube out there on tech, you don't often see a black person doing that, and he's sort of obviously the minority, but he doesn't come across as that usually. Like, he doesn't really talk about politics in that way. There was one zinger though, like it was towards the end of the video, but this is and I don't think, like, I certainly never thought of this. I don't think you would have, but like this seems to be something that's well known by YouTube creators. So I'll just play the clip.
Some people might not know this, and I don't even know if YouTube would ever say it, but finding and subscribing to a new YouTube channel and then not engaging and interacting with their content actually sends a bad signal to YouTube's algorithms, where if you just subscribe to a channel and never watch their stuff, then YouTube takes that as a flag that this stuff isn't interesting and then makes it harder for that stuff to surface. So, flooding a channel with the numbers is a nice look, but it can actually bury that channel.
So I probably should have sort of prepared this clip with what he was talking about was as part of this movement, a lot of current creators are sort of shining a light to other creators that are black, basically. So everyone's trying to look for, okay, who are the black creators out there, and just going and subscribing. But what he's saying is, like, if you just do that, make sure you support them for real. Like, just don't go and subscribe, because that actually sends a bad signal to the YouTube.
And I totally see why, because you can easily get bots to subscribe to your channel to try and trick the algo. But Google probably has an engagement score, that we love to talk about all the time. If someone subscribes but doesn't do anything, or if they start an account today and within an hour all they do is just subscribe to channels, that's going to raise a lot of alarm bells. So yeah, good call out, man. Good call out, Marquez. Since we're on YouTube, the other story that popped up for me was, I don't think it really matters anymore, because according to TechCrunch, kids now spend nearly as much time watching TikTok as they do YouTube in the US, UK, and Spain. Is that
as much as?
So is that a surprise for you, that TikTok is now just taking over like crazy? So according to this article, kids ages 4 to 15 now spend an average of 85 minutes a day watching YouTube, compared to about 80 minutes a day on TikTok. The TikTok has also grown by 100% in 2019 and 200% in 2020. So that's interesting. I mean, are you on TikTok? Because I'm not.
No, it's a shake of the head for me. I just can't. No, I just can't do it.
Yeah. What's also interesting is in this article, there is a breakdown of all the most popular video apps that kids use. No surprise there. In the US, number one is YouTube, Netflix, and then Twitch. In the UK, it's YouTube, Netflix, and YouTube Kids, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And in Espanol, it is YouTube, Netflix, and also Twitch. YouTube Kids is just a safer version of YouTube, so I'm not quite sure why that's a big thing in the UK, because it doesn't really provide a lot of features that aren't already in YouTube, because I definitely don't use it for my kids. I also make sure that I play safe videos. I made sure that it doesn't keep playing, because there are all these weird stories out there about people seeing these videos with ads and different voices and whatnot. So I tend to avoid YouTube and just go with more safer options like ABC iView, which I can make sure it's safe for my kids. Still, interesting outlook for a lot of these different countries. What's really interesting as well is Disney Channel is a lot bigger in Spain for some reason. But Twitch is the other one that really surprised me. It's huge in all three countries, especially with kids. So
with this, I know, like, when you say kids, like you sort of said 14 to 15-year-olds.
Yeah, 4 to 15.
Like, I assume it also Oh, 4 to
Yeah.
15. Sorry. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot larger base than 14 to 15. I'm just wondering, are these restricted to phones or iPads, maybe, or like would like I don't know, Apple TV, Netflix on Apple TV, would that count as?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think this is
Yeah.
just pure traffic numbers to these domain names. But I like it how there's a
True.
thing called the COVID effect, and they just saw a spike in traffic to all the major video providers, which is super interesting. But yeah, overall, less people are watching YouTube compared to all the other big guys. So I think Google is going to have its problem there. A lot of people are leaving as well. We spoke about the Rogan effect, and will other big YouTube celebrities leave? I mean, if you piss Marquez off enough, he's got 10.2 million people. He can easily take them somewhere else.
Yeah.
The effort, the barriers of switching platforms is too low now.
So I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb. So the next age group, let's say the 16 to 22, 23-year-olds, I would think they're big on Reddit. What do you think? Or is it Reddit a bit older audience?
No, I think Reddit is for more people like us, unfortunately. The 35s to the 55s, only because there's a lot of reading involved, and you have to have. It's a very different kind of debate and conversation. Like, it's a conversation that happens on Reddit. I don't think the kids in this demographic are more like that. They prefer to consume information and create content rather than have these debates.
Yeah, but for real though, do you watch the videos that get posted there more, or do you like to read the conversation more? Like, what's the split there?
I definitely see more conversations than I do see content on Reddit, in the sense that I go there for the debate, not so much the content. Like
or maybe the post will link to some video or something like that, but the video itself is not part of Reddit. Is that what
That's
you're
right.
saying?
So I would go to YouTube for watching a video, and then go to Reddit to see what people think about it. So I think it's two different sort of mediums.
Anyway, I bring Reddit up because the founder of Reddit, do you know who that is? His name is Alexis Ohanian. Sometimes dubbed the president of the internet. I think that's from a Twit network guy, Leo Laporte. Now he's he's still active there because he's on the board, but he announced on Instagram this week that he's stepping down from the board. So that's the Instagram post on Twitch there. Just saying, I'm gonna be an example, because he's a white guy and recognizes that, and he wants to actually have a black person come to the board. So that's a direct active thing that he's doing. I mean, I haven't gone to Reddit to read about this because I'm sure there's lots of conversations about that, but I mean, I think that's good. It's this is a real leader. He actually now has a podcast.
No, what's it called?
And it's all about it's something like something father or something dad. Right. And because he runs like a VC at the moment. And he's just recently had a child, probably a couple of years ago, and his experience as a dad in that field is very different. So he did a podcast about being a dad in the tech world, and funding all these startups. So yeah, good on him. Just wanted to sort of call that out. I don't think this gets mentioned in the news as such.
Yeah, there's just so much in the news right now, just about the protest itself. Like, the noise is almost unbearable now.
Yeah, so I like these little bits of things that are not important in the big scheme of things as the actual Black Lives Matter movement, but there's a few things around there quite interesting, and I think it's still worthwhile knowing about these, especially if you listen to this podcast.
No, and that's what we're about, right? I mean, we can't stand mainstream media coverage sometimes as much as the next person, so this is why we do it. We just want bigger, better stories to come out, and we want to share all that.
Yeah. So Kelvin, I've got a bit of a bit coming up. I just want to see if you've got anything else before we get on to a larger.
Yeah. So I've got one last story, only because it's more of a PSA. I know on this podcast I've been encouraging everyone to download the Brave browser because I think it's the best browser from a privacy perspective and it's innovative. Before I get on this story, I'm going to play a quick clip from a YouTube channel called Hiroshi, just reminding us what the Brave browser does and why it's different.
But for those of you who are wondering, what is Brave browser? Brave is a privacy-first, ad-blocking web browser built on the open source framework that underpins Google Chrome, meaning you get the ubiquitous UI UX from Chrome without all of the tracking and spyware in the backend.
Yeah, unfortunately, everyone's got to make money somehow. So Decrypt, the publication online, ran a story about how it's actually profiting from redirecting links to some crypto companies. So this is how it works. If you search for a crypto company like Binance, instead of giving you the URL binance.com, it gives you an affiliate URL to let Binance know that the traffic is coming from Brave browser, and then Binance will give the Brave company a cut of that, that traffic, like an ad. So the CEO of Brave browser has come out and said that that's the wrong thing to do, and they will stop doing it immediately. So there's no leak of data. It's more of it's a violation of I feel like the ethos of the company, Brave browser. You know what? They should have told people that they were doing this and it was okay to make a bit of money on the side. It's just affiliate links. But yeah, it's a bit of a letdown considering the kind of push they were pushing to be the most secure browser on the internet. They won awards for these things. So yeah.
So is the CEO only sorry because he's been caught out? Like, surely he knew about this?
Yeah, he knew about this.
Or did he? Okay. So he's putting his hand up, really?
He's putting his hand up.
Okay.
He got found out. We went on Twitter. It's not in my opinion, it's not a big deal. They probably made a few bucks out of this. But it wasn't an honest, business model. And plus, we spoke about this in previous episodes. Once the cookie apocalypse comes, a lot of these affiliate links and whatnot will cease to exist anyway. People will find new way to scam people into clicking on links, but this will all change. And you know what? Google removing cookies on their Chrome browser is a good thing, and it will stop things like this. So I still...
When is that?
2021, I think. I think it was November.
Like middle of?
Okay. I still think Brave is still the best browser out there from a privacy perspective. So it doesn't change my mind, but just watch out there, Brave company. I'm watching you.
Look out. All right. So this is a bit of a follow-up from last week where we covered the launch of America through SpaceX and NASA. I do have a bit of a news flash. Let me just bring it up. Sorry. A bit of a news flash from Fox Business.
It's the battle of the billionaires, folks. Elon Musk setting his sights on Jeff Bezos after Amazon initially refused to carry former New York Times reporter Alex Barrison's book on the COVID-19. Susan Lee joins us now with more details. Susan.
Don't you love it when the uber rich battle?
All right, so the very Fox Business, you can tell, right? That was the only clip I could find, though. So what is this about? So Amazon obviously has the Kindle store, and the author of a book, who is a former, I think, New York Times journalist, Alex Berenson, and it doesn't matter what the book is about, but basically, the Kindle store censored or blocked the book from being published, and the author sort of tweeted about it. Elon Musk, because he's so against Amazon and Jeff Bezos at the moment, he said this is insane, and Amazon should be broken up.
Yeah.
So what does that actually mean, breaking up Amazon in your eyes?
Well, full disclosure here, I just started Amazon in Amazon Web Services, so not sure if I can talk a lot about this topic, but it's funny how in my previous startup, the company I worked for was run by a billionaire, and they work on a different level. And I recently been watching the TV series Billions. I know it's a bit of a sidetrack here, but I feel like we get caught up in these spats between billionaires and they're calling each other out, and I'm not sure they do it for the good of the people, the good of their users, the good of the company, and they do it more out of, what billionaires do because they're rich and powerful and famous.
Yes, that's a very good point. I mean, I'm bringing this up not so much of the actual call for him to be breaking up Amazon, because I actually don't know what that means. I mean, it could be, well, is it more like Google splintering off into Alphabet and all those different arms? So Amazon obviously has AWS, they have the Kindle store. Like, is he saying that he should be broken up? Like, still run by a central company. So that's besides the point. What I want to get to is the beef between the two billionaires, really. So since reading about this, I got onto Tech Insider, and they had a video or an article last year where they covered the history of the beef, really. And I found it very interesting. And it's all about space. So this is how we sort of come back around to SpaceX and Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' little baby. And I think Blue Origin is a separate company. It is not part of Amazon. Is that your understanding?
You know what? I'm really surprised to hear about this beef. Like, how did it not? Has it always been a thing? Like,
it has.
Wow.
It has. Okay. Yeah. All right. So where can we start? So we're going to start in 2004. And, imagine 2004, 16 years ago, Elon Musk was hardly like a well-known person. I think I started reading about Elon maybe 2011 when I was in America. I was reading a book on him. But yeah, obviously Jeff Bezos was well known by then. I think by the mid-90s he had Amazon up and running. So they had dinner together apparently in 2004. This is way before, the two companies were already set up by then, SpaceX and Blue Origin, but they had no functioning rockets. So they were just like, shooting the breeze. Like, hey, we're going to change the future. We're going to go to Mars, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So that went on, but a rivalry kind of emerges like around 2013. So this is Tech Insider with what that initial feud may have been about.
One of the biggest flare-ups started in 2013 over the historic launch complex 39A. After the space shuttles retired in 2011, NASA wasn't using the launch pad.
And so they open it up for anybody who wants it. SpaceX steps up to the plate, says, we want that for our rockets. Right after they did that, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company, comes in and says, we want that pad too.
Yeah, so 39A, we talked about this last week. This is where the last week's mission launched from to get to the ISS. So yeah, they've been fighting over that. It's I don't know if there's an advantage, like a strategic advantage of having that launch pad, but I think it has a lot of history behind it. So it's a bit of PR, I think. But like since then, SpaceX has been awarded like a 20-year lease of that. So that's the first thing, and this wasn't quite public. I think Tech Insider sort of revealed this happening like way back in 2013. Now the second part is 2014, and I do believe I've got a clip for that. Yeah, so this is about a certain patent.
And as part of his fight against this patent, because Musk wanted to do the same thing.
Sorry, I should set that up. So the patent was Bezos wanted to patent the reusable rocket concept. So that actually came from Jeff Bezos' side. Like, really? I think everyone sort of recognizes that concept as a SpaceX thing, but Bezos actually wanted to patent this.
And he didn't want to have to shell out.
I didn't know that.
Let me just go to here we go.
And as part of his fight against this patent, because Musk wanted to do the same thing and he didn't want to have to shell out gobs of money to Blue Origin, his competitor, to use this concept, was he summoned this very old, I think, Russian science fiction movie showing a rocket coming down and landing on a boat. So that was used, I think, as evidence to sort of put the kibosh on this patent. And ultimately, SpaceX prevailed.
Yep, so Musk said, no, you can't patent a concept like that because it exists. I mean, like, that's not a new thing that, Bezos invented, obviously, but like he wanted to actually do that. So we get on to 2015, when Blue Origin was actually the first private company to actually complete this feat. So it didn't get to orbit necessarily, but it was a big enough rocket and it landed properly and it didn't crash, presumably after numerous tests. But so, I guess if it was a race between those two, like Bezos won basically. But a month later, SpaceX was ready with a mission to actually go into orbit and land rockets. So, in typical Musk style, he was gloating about that on Twitter. And then this just went on and on. And I think the video goes on to say that was sort of the start of the public spat between the two of them. So 2015, 5 years ago, up until now, they've just been going on and on. I think obviously Musk is a bit more of a personality to be more vocal about it. I think Bezos is, he doesn't lie back and take it either. But probably in a more measured way, and not so much on Twitter. The other sort of public spat was around Musk wanting to go to Mars. And I don't know if you remember last year when Bezos made the comment like, well, have you been to Antarctica recently? Like, Antarctica is like 1,000 times more comfortable than the climate of Mars. So this has been going on, but I think I'm going to end with a clip from that video, which I think is worth, looking just to get this backgrounder on, what this is really about.
But in the end, it doesn't really matter which of them is first to go to the moon or first to set up a colony beyond Earth.
Behind the scenes, their visions aren't all that different. They both want to preserve the Earth. They both want to move humanity out into space where we can have a bigger, bolder future than we would otherwise by just sticking to the surface of a rock.
Yeah, so I think that's a nice way to kind of end it, because yes, they have egos, they're big personalities, but they have like massive goals. Like, never in the history of humankind, like, we've had these literal moonshots, right? We've had moonshots at a certain level, but these are literally shooting to the moon. So I found that fascinating. I thought they were actually quite close friends for some reason. That was my take on it. But like,
I think, and I refer back to the TV show Billions again. Like, I don't see them. I think they would be way too competitive to be like friends, but I would love to see a partnership, right? I mean, these are some of the best, minds and business people of our generation, and if they got together, I see us getting to Mars even faster. I don't think that will ever happen, but I think that would be.
As in going to Mars or getting together?
I think we'll probably get to Mars before those two partner up, based on what we've been talking about. But yeah, I think we're all better for the things that they have done, and I just don't want them to lose focus over their main, their products and projects and goals to fight about space. And what is it about billionaires in space? Like, even the last company I worked for, was financed by a billionaire, and he started buying space companies. Like, what is it with space? Is it?
Well, I can tell you. Mining the asteroids.
That's
minerals. Right. Water in space. That's the first trillionaire. Well, I mean, it's probably Bezos, but they're going to be mining. I think that's where it's going to where it's going to happen.
I think they just need a planet to mine crypto, to be honest.
Hey, maybe that's what crypto is.
It's all about. Cryptocurrency in space, baby. That's where the money is. Yeah.
Just one last semi-related clip, which was I guess it was a fairly exciting week for me in terms of the space, and I found a YouTube channel called Everyday Astronaut, and he's just a total geek. He's very young as well. He's probably like mid-20s or something like that. But he was able to get an exclusive interview with Elon Musk, I think the day before the launch. Now, he thought he was going to interview Elon, but then also Jim Bridenstine, who is the NASA administrator, was also involved in this interview. So it got pretty interesting. Yep, that's the guy there. And I just had a couple of zingers here. He asked Elon about the origins of SpaceX and why he really created all those years ago.
The whole reason I started SpaceX was actually to try to increase NASA's budget, or at least the way I got interested in space was I was trying to figure out why we had not gone to Mars, and then I thought, well, maybe we need to reignite public excitement in Mars.
Yeah, so he's just boldly next to the guy who runs NASA. I was like, the whole point was to increase the budget of NASA. And I mean, like, the way it comes across is it can be a bit maddening there, but I guess yeah, like because the public is interested. There was I mean, despite all the protests happening around the world, like this made news, right? So it's a good thing. Now Jim Bridenstine, who's an interesting character as well, and I won't go about his background, but I loved his answer around how the partnership sort of came about, and how successful is it, and it's like to the public it feels a bit weird, someone as eccentric as Elon Musk sort of being a pure partner to NASA, right? From the public view, it seems weird, but it somehow worked, and they went into space together. So this is Jim's answer, which I thought it was fascinating.
The willingness to fail is something that NASA has lacked for a very long time, but it's what enables SpaceX to move so fast, to rapidly iterate and improve. NASA has this history of qualifying every component, and that slows us down.
Now, that qualifying the component part, that is interesting, because what they used to do is, like, imagine all the different parts there are on a rocket ship. I think it's literally millions. Every part needs to be stress tested to see what that threshold is, where things break. So I think that they say it's like there's a tolerance of like 1.5 for that part to pass. So which means, if you get to 100%, which is, a rating of 1, it has to survive that, but it has to go another 50% beyond that. So if you're putting like, I don't know, 100, whatever the unit of force is, newtons of force to break something, you have to actually go up to 1.5 before it breaks. And then it gets put into the rocket. So that's what they mean by qualifying every component there. But I guess, like, given the massive crash that also happened during the week from SpaceX, like they don't do that as much.
Stress test.
Like fell fast.
But like I forgot which movie it was from, but they say like a hammer from NASA costs like 150 grand or whatever it was, because that's the level of testing it would take to bring a hammer into the ISS. I never thought about it that way. I would think it's a big PR campaign by Elon to get people interested in space. Like, is he responsible for Space Force? Did he go to Donald Trump and go, you know what you need to do to really get people behind you? Space Force. That's right. Not the TV show.
You mean the Netflix special?
Apparently that's horrible.
Because that's terrible.
Have you watched it?
Yeah. No, I can't bring myself to it.
They're trying to do The Office in space, and I think it's going to turn out horrible. And also, like, this channel, I mean, when I saw a bit of that interview, I don't know why they use this weird wide-angle lens in NASA. It looks like everyone put on 20 pounds. Anyway, not the point. But I truly believe that. Where would NASA be without Elon? Interesting.
I think we can probably close tonight's episode with that one, Kelvin.
Yeah, if you're wondering the same thing, whether Elon Musk will take us to Mars and beyond, check out all our other episodes on the website. That's the nakedtechpodcast.com. Please reach out to us on any social network of your choice. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please rate us. And that's Kelv out.
Jeff out.
Yeah.
He looks half Korean, that guy. I don't know. I think. I mean, like, once he takes the mask off. It's recent because he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
NASA has gone agile. That's the
it's
headline.
way too risky, man. Can you imagine, like, blowing up a $120 billion spaceship because your screws weren't stress tested? You can't agile your way into that one.
I mean, it's due to, previous experience, right? Like, you had things blow up with people in it. Yeah, I think during the week I must have watched about 5 hours worth of his stuff.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know. I'm becoming a space geek now.
Should do a podcast.
He does like really in-depth breakdown of each part of the rocket. Like it would spend like 2 hours on just the.
Is he an engineer
itself? And I don't know his background actually. He hasn't. I haven't seen enough for him to